This lecture is continuation of previous lecture of arrays. Let us start with the example, that is passing 1D array as a const reference parameter. It is a good idea to pass array as const reference parameter if you want to assure that the function will never change the value stored in an array. For example, void display is name of function, its reference of array and its constant reference, its size of array. Constant mean you can't change content of this array in this user defined function. So for int I is equal to 0, I less than size I plus plus cout x of I endl means you can display or you can view elements of array but can't change these elements. It's another example. It's a chunk of code searching for a key in unsorted array using sequential search approach. Int its name of function sequential search, int x reference of array x, int n size of array, int key its body of this user defined function. For int I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. If key is equal to current number of array, that is key is equal to x of I, then return I. The loop will process and search for key by matching key with all elements of array x. If search is successful, then return I, and if no matching of key is found in the array, then return -1. -1 means search is unsuccessful. Searching for the index of the smallest value in an array, it's another chunk of code. Int data type of values in array, min underscore index is name of array, int x is reference of array, the size of array is int size, int start is initialized with 0, int index is equal to start, that is 0, int min is equal to x of index, that is x of 0 mean first value, declare first value as minimum value. Int I is equal to index plus 1. For comparison purpose, don't compare first number with first number, compare first number with second number. I is less than size I plus plus. If you find any other minimum number, that is if min is greater than x of I, then update min, that is min is equal to x of I, as well as update index of minimum value of the array. The loop will iterate, and at the end of loop minimum number will be stored in min and index of that number will be stored in index variable, and at the end of this function mean after executing this loop return index of the minimum value. Sorting of 1D array. Hash include iostream using namespace std, its main function, body of main function, its user defined array, int data is name of array, initialized with 5 value, mean capacity of this array is 5, int temp a temp variable used in processing. For int I is equal to 0, I less than 5, 5 is size of array, I plus plus. Display elements of array one by one by using this loop. It's starting of sorting process. We have used bubble sort algorithm in this program. Bubble sort algorithm basically uses passes and comparison. Outer loop is controlling passes of bubble sort algorithm, and inner loop is controlling comparisons of bubble sort criteria. So total number of passes in bubble sort method is n-1. Here n is 5, so the outer loop will iterate from 0 to 5 minus 1. A number of comparisons, it will start from 0 up to j is less than n minus I. As number of passes increases, number of comparisons decreases in bubble sort criteria. J++, if data of j is greater than data of j plus 1, mean adjacent element, that is j and j plus 1 are adjacent element. If adjacent elements are out of order, then swap them. It's a swapping code. These 3-line code is a swapping code. So after execution of these two loops, data is sorted. Now display that sorted data. For int I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. Cout display the data. ENGL system pass return 0. The output of this program is its given data, this data, that is 7, 3, 9, 2 and 5, and its sorted data, that is sorted by using bubble sort algorithm, that is 2, 3, 5, 7 and 9. It's ascending order sorting. If you want to sort the data in descending order, just change this conditional symbol, that is data of j is less than data of j plus 1. Now summation of elements of 1D array. Hash include IO stream using namespace std, int main function, body of main function, int n to represent size of array, read size of array from user since size is not given. Its declaration of array with n, the size of array is n. Please enter values in array. It's a user defined text message. Statement of loop to read values of array one by one from user, that is C in A of I, mean read elements of array. To sum up elements of array, use variable sum, int sum initialized with 0. So this loop will iterate and sum all elements of array one by one. After termination of control from this loop, user defined text message and value of sum will be displayed to user and program will end here. Its output of this program, user entered a value 5 and entered elements of array with capacity 5 one by one. Elements of array are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and sum of these 5 elements is 15. Now handling strings as an array in C++. A string is a null terminated character array. Allocate space for a string just like any other array. For example, character output string is name of array 16. Mean we are creating character array having capacity of 16 elements. Space for string must contain a room for terminating. Zero special syntax for initializing a string is, that is result is a string value that is stored in this character array, which is same as name of array, and at 0 location of this array R will get stored. At first location E will store, at second location S will store, at third location U, then L and then T, and last value in a string will be null character, that is /0. It's a null character or null terminator. String declaration and initialization ways. Declaration plus initialization at the same time. Its character array, name of array is name, its sample name Muhammad Ahmad, cout this name. Initialization from user, that is declaration of array, that is reading of array from user, that is display content of array to user. Here it is important to mention that in this way compiler only read character up to first space and ignore all remaining characters or spaces. That is very important point. Getline function, to read string included space, we can use getline function. For example, character name of array with capacity of 20 characters. Cin dot getline, its name of array, comma, capacity of array. Now display name of this array. In this way, the whole name including spaces will be printed. Now 2D array, declaration of 2D array, type, that is data type, that is name of array, that is capacity of first dimension and capacity of second dimension. For example, an array of 3 by 4 means 3 rows and 4 columns is elaborated here, that is row 0, row 1, row 2, column 0, column 1, column 2, column 3, and these are accessing of elements of 2D array. A of 0 into 0 mean accessing first row and first column element of 2D array. So here first square bracket contains row index and second square bracket contains column index of 2D array elements. Now initializing 2D arrays, multidimensional arrays may be initialized by specifying bracketed values for each row. Following is an example of 3 rows and each row has 4 columns. That is an array of 3 by 4. Int a is name of array. 3 mean number of rows is 3. 4 mean number of columns in this 2D array is 4. That is 0, 1, 2, 3 mean content of row 1 with 4 columns. That is content of row 2, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and content of row 3, that is 8, 9, 10 and 11. Or you can write it like this one as well. First 4 element will store in row 0, next 4 in row 1 and last 4 in row 2. Now assessing 2D array elements, that is int main function, an array with 5 rows and 2 columns. Int a of 5 by 2 mean 5 rows and 2 columns, that is initialization of 2D array. Curly bracket, it shows starting of 2D array, and this curly bracket, that is 0, 0, it shows first row. Then 1 and 2, it shows content of second row. 2, 4 content of third row. 3, 6 content of fourth row, and 4, 8 content of fifth row. Output each array element value. For 2D array, it's better to use 2 loop. The outer loop is used to control number of rows. Total rows are 5, that is 0 up to 4 or 0 to less than 5, and inner loop normally process number of columns, and in this example we have 2 columns, so inner loop will iterate from 0 to 2. That is display of elements of 2D array, that is a I, it represent row index, and j represent column index, that is cout a of I, j, return 0. Passing 2D array to a function when dimensions are globally defined. These are 2 dimension globally defined. Constant r for rows, that is 3. Constant c for column, that is 3. Void print, its name of function. Int arr, first square bracket is empty, second square bracket contains c. Now its main function, its initialization of user defined function arr with 3 rows and 3 columns. You can omit it. It's called to user defined function by passing reference of 2D array with the name of array only. It's called to user defined function int I comma j. I is a loop control variable to control rows of this array, and j to control columns of 2D array. So I is equal to 0, I less than or I plus plus, j is equal to 0, j less than c, j plus plus, and its display of elements of 2D array. Passing 2D array to function when only second dimension is available globally. Second dimension, that is number of column, is known globally. It's called to user defined function, its main function. Its declaration and initialization of 2D array with a first value is missing, that is not globally defined, mean 3 rows and 3 columns. So it's called to function with reference of 2D array along with number of rows in this array. So now move towards user defined function, that is user defined function int reference of past array, and to control number of rows, int r is receiving a value 3, that is int I comma j to loop control variable to process rows and columns of 2D array. I is equal to 0, I less than r, j 0, j less than c, and c out a double r of I and j.